So there's a 100% chance of rain. It's drizzled a little bit, but it mostly went around us. And I don't think there's much more behind what we already got. So I think we're done with the rain today. Can't ever trust the weather, man. It's a bit cooler today, but not too bad. It's in the 50s. I think tonight it's going to get down to 37, so not below freezing, nothing to worry about. I'll probably start the wood stove. And then it's going to warm back up, I think, in 2 days. So I think spring's pretty much here. I mean, we could have a cold snap, possibly. I think I remember one time in April, we had a snow on Easter, I think. I told you the other day that my generator, I've actually said my generator a lot, is getting old. But I told you the other day that as a result of it getting old, you know, things just happen to it. It needs a tune up or different things. It's been a very reliable generator. I mean, there's just no way I can complain about this. If somebody asked me what kind of generator to get, this is what I would tell them. My dad asked me the other day what to get, and I told him a Champion inverter. Now, I got the dual fuel as a backup because this one's getting really old. This one's 4 years old, and I run it constantly. It's just, there's just no way for me to have expected it to last as long as it has. It's got to have 5,000-6,000 hours on it, I'm sure. I mean, the first year we had it, I know we put 2,000 hours on it, so we don't run it quite as much as we did when we were nomads, but we do run it a tremendous amount. At least several times a week. It runs the well pump, and I max it out on the well pump. The new generator is 2,500 watts. This one's 2,000 watts, so it's a little bit, this old one's a little bit less. The new one doesn't have any struggles with it. So I bought the backup generator, and it's also propane, which was a big selling point for me. And it was on sale. I didn't realize it was on sale when I bought it, but it was like $70 less than what it is right now. I went back, I was gonna look at it, see if we, I don't know, I was just looking at it, and it had went up 70 bucks, like in a week. Really happy we got it when we did. But this generator, it's just showing its age. There's a little worn spot on the rope, which I could probably replace, but you could probably see, but it hasn't gotten any worse. It's been like that for a year or so. This particular generator, now I've owned 3, and I'll explain that in a minute, smokes a little bit. It always has smoked since the first day we got it. I'm not a big fan of that. And I thought about replacing it, but we were in New Mexico out in the middle of nowhere, and oh well, who cares? So I've dealt with it. I put some, I don't know, piston ring sealer, goop glue, you know, mixed it in with my oil. And I ran that for, well, I had a gallon of oil, so however many oil changes it took to use all that oil. Never did get better. It's not that bad. It runs roughly 50 hours before the oil level turns off the generator because the oil's low, in which case I just changed the oil at that time. You're supposed to change the oil every 50 hours. Now, I've had 2 other Champions prior to this. The first one burned up in the fire. The second one, I left gasoline in it. Specifically says in instructions, do not leave gasoline in the generator for over 30 days. And it was a fine running generator, nothing wrong with it. And I couldn't wait to get a new replacement carburetor, so we just went out and got this one. But the thing with this one is it's starting to surge, specifically when it first starts up. And I know what happened. There's a bowl on your carburetor, and there's a little float on it. Yeah, when it falls down, gasoline starts to pour back into the bowl. And so that float rises back up, falls back down, rises back up, and you're supposed to do it very normally. And so when it rises back up, it shuts off the flow of gasoline, falls down, opens up the flow of gasoline back and forth. What's happening is when that float falls down, gasoline is not flowing as fast as it needs to fill up that bowl, and so it starts to surge until that float fills back up. I changed the gas filter in it, thinking maybe that would be the problem, because if the gas filter gets clogged, then the gas isn't flowing fast enough to fill that back up. I changed it, and it seemed to have gotten a little better, but not perfect. So I thought, well, you know, I need to clean the carburetor. No big deal. I've done it before. I mean, 1,000 times. I've cleaned carburetors all my life. Ever since I was 10 years old, my grandpa and I would tear in the lawnmowers all the time. But I didn't really want to, because this thing is so compact. I don't have all kinds of tools like I used to have. that the carburetor's kind of tough to get to. I could do it, I just didn't really want to. I'd have to tear off all the suitcase, and it had just been a good day's project. Now that I got the new generator, I could run the new generator if I needed to while I maintenance this one. But again, I just really didn't want to. I was being lazy. So I thought, you know, there's a product that I've never tried, but a lot of people rave about it. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about it. And it's called Seafoam. Now, I'm not a sponsor of this. I don't think I am. I have no idea how well it works. And you can buy it in a pour can, which is what this is. And you can buy it in a spray. Now, you're supposed to, if you're going to clean your engine, look up the YouTube videos on this stuff. There's a mechanic, Chris Fix. He talks about it. He likes it. I've seen other YouTubers that I don't know anything about. They used it. One guy had an old pickup truck, and it seemed like it just completely rebuilt the engine. It was ticking and clattering and making all kinds of noise. Put that stuff in it, went through the process. He did a before and after, and you could hear the and then there was nothing afterwards. But it's supposed to clean injectors, clean carburetor jets, which is what I was wanting to do with this, is clean the carburetor jets. Stabilizes fuel, which is really cool. That way you don't have to go out and buy a separate can of stabilizer in the wintertime. Controls moisture in the fuel, which is what stabilizers do. Quiet, noisy lifters, cleans deposits, add lubricant to the fuel. Lubricates upper cylinders and de-ices anti-gel. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. I put it in the generator, and I run it for an hour last night. Got it good and hot. I didn't use the spray. The spray is supposed to clean the carbon deposits in your engine. I came back down to shut it off, and I will admit, now maybe it was just wishful thinking, but it did seem quieter. You know, this is an old generator. It's supposed to be like 53 decibels. And this just, it seemed a little quieter. And I thought, well, maybe it's working. Of course, could have been just wishful thinking. I started up this morning. When I got up, ran it for, well, it's cloudy, so I ran it for a maintenance charge this morning. I think I ran it for 4 hours. And it surged like it does every morning. I plugged it in, I turned on the battery charger, and the surging went away. The surging usually lasted a good long while, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. So now there is something that I can actually put a measurement to say, that stuff seems to have cleaned the carburetor. I was concerned because I got the surging at first, but that could have been the fuel filter. I put the fuel filter in. It wasn't designed with the fuel filter, so it's kind of cockeyed in there a little bit. That could be the problem. But anyway, once it got up and running, got the 25 amp battery charger on it, there was no surging. So I was really impressed with that. So this morning I thought, you know what? I made a terrible, tragic mistake this last winter. It was terrible. I mean, I just knew I goofed up. So you may remember I bought an old used tiller late summer, last fall, and I had to buy a new carburetor. It had a back carburetor on it. And you can see that I hooked it up to the back of the lawnmower, and I drug it around with the lawnmower to this old tiller, and I did all that. I plowed the field with this old tiller. I mean, it was like $150 for this tiller. It runs pretty good. I really like it now. I got the new carburetor. Well, for whatever reason, I didn't add any gas stabilizer or remove the gas out of this. I just forgot. I forgot I had it down here. I did it with the lawnmower. I did it with the push mower. So, and the generator, I mean, it runs all the time, so I didn't do anything to it. I just forgot about this thing, sitting way out here in the corner of the property, out of sight, out of mind. Well, come January, I was walking around and I thought, oh my goodness, I walked right by it. I thought, I forgot to empty the gas out of that. So I dumped the gas out of it, and it was just, oh, it was terrible looking. Copper color, very dark. You know, it had gone bad. It was bad. It smelled like that varnish you smell when your gas goes bad. It was bad. I thought, well, I'm not going to do anything with this. It's a shot carburetor. I messed it up. I'll just have to buy a new one in the spring, replace it. And they weren't that expensive. I think maybe $10, at most $20. They just weren't that expensive, so I was just going to have to buy a new carburetor, even though I just bought one. I just accepted the fact that I messed up. It happens, I guess. So I thought I'd come down here with a Seafoam and give it a try. So I put a little gasoline in, dumped a little Seafoam in the gasoline, dumped gasoline in the carburetor, because I'm sure it was varnished in there too. I don't know, it took a little bit to get it to start, 5 or 6 pulls, but it started. So I, instead of using the spray, did what the recommended with the sprays. I just dumped it down in the carburetor a little bit right before it would start to die. It'd start to die. It would flush all that seafoam out of there. It would smoke. It's supposed to smoke. That smoking is good. It's cleaning the carbon and all the gunk out of there is what it's doing. So I poured it down there several times. Then I flooded it with the seafoam and let it die, just like you're supposed to with the spray stuff. So I'm just going to let it soak and clean out the cylinders and everything. And I was really surprised though. I mean, just really surprised that it started. I think that thing was $10. It was well worth the purchase to save that tiller. I recognized the carburetor was 10 bucks and it was no big deal, but I can use the seafoam for other things. I use it for the generator so far, use it for the tiller. I'll put some in the lawnmowers. But something I had to look up with it, it says put 1 ounce per gallon of gasoline. You can use more. You could actually use the whole can according to some of the YouTube videos. It's a petroleum product. I decided to put 2 ounces in the generator and I just flooded it with the tiller over there. I just dumped it in until I thought, oh, that's good. So I got about maybe half a can left. I'm gonna get some more. But I didn't know how much an ounce was. So I looked it up and what they say is 6 capfuls equals 1 ounce. So I put 12 capfuls in the generator. So I wrote it on there, 6 capfuls equals 1 ounce. If you are savvy with engines and you wanted to see if it quiets down your engine, because you know you get those tappy lifters and the cylinder may be all crumbed up and everything. So if you can check out this other channel, I'd really appreciate it. It takes you over to my comedy channel. So I hope I can inspire you to give something a try when all hope is lost, so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.